Scorpio, you are up for the, I was literally about to say January, for the February general energy reading. Before I go any further, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Okay. So this is the general. I plan on doing love readings and money readings later on throughout the weeks. Whatever reading you watch or listen to, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If it's not your story, don't try to make it fit. I'm just a person here reading energy and tarot cards. You know your story better than I ever could. Now that I said all that, let's go ahead and get into the reading. May I have the energy for Scorpio for February? May I have the energy for Scorpio for February? May I have the energy for Scorpio for February? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? What is it that Scorpio needs to hear? Thank you. Well, that kind of makes sense, Scorpio. Okay. All right. So, and this is Katish. And it says sacred lust. Katish, sacred lust. All right. Let me go ahead and read this right quick. Also, the number 26 might be significant to you. And it says, goddess of sacred lust, temple lovers, element fire, Katish, the mistress of the gods, is the Egyptian goddess of sacred sexuality, ecstasy, and fertility. Uh-oh, we thinking pregnancy. Her two men, yes, are the fertility god Men and Mantu, the god of war. Guidance. You are an erotic creature. You have a divine right to experience sensual ecstasy. It is sacred to give and receive pleasure. Embodiment. You deserve to feel good. It feels good to feel good. So allow yourself to feel good. Lean into your sacred lust. Turn up your own fire and quench your thirst. Dance with pleasure. You daring to embrace your sensuality will set the world on fire. The declaration is, it feels good to feel good. All right. Now, Scorpio, this kind of fits you because the signs rule body parts as well. Just like the signs have ruling planets and everything else, signs do rule body parts. For Cancer, it's like the breast or whatever. And I believe the stomach too. For Libra, it's like the skin, and I think the kidneys, and so on and so forth. For Scorpio, it is the private parts. That is your ruling area. That's usually the most aroused area on a Scorpio's body. It makes sense because those are your ruling body parts, are the genitals. So, for some of you, this is saying that you may have been going without, and maybe you want to get back on the horse. Just saying. Now, this is a general reading. This isn't a love reading. And honestly, this isn't about love. It really, really isn't. It's about appreciating your body. It's about realizing that you have a beautiful body. It's also about not neglecting sensual pleasure. Now, for everyone, it can be a little bit different as to what, I'm looking for how to articulate this, as to what you feel comfortable with. Because based off of whatever reasons, when it comes to people and their minds, some people may feel like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. because I was taught not to do that. Okay, that's fine. At the same time, if you're neglecting yourself, if you have a lot of pent up frustration, if you have a lot of pent up energy, there has to be some type of release for it. I'm not saying that this is the answer for the release. I'm not saying go grab, 2 men and do this and do that. I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that you have to even go solo, even though this is also what it's implying too, where it's like, okay, you don't need another person to bring ecstasy into your life. You can do that on your own. So yeah, that's what that is saying too, but I'm not implying that. What I'm saying is that there has to be a release, and however you do it, obviously that is up to you, but there has to be a release. You can't have something build up, and then before you know it, it gets out of control. Those situations are usually people who do let something build up instead of saying, okay, time to release. It's almost like, what is the thing? I want to say it's like a locomotive engine or something like that. There's certain things where the pressure builds up. Maybe it's old school. And then they had to let the steam out or do this or do that to get that out, because if it builds up too much and you don't let the steam out, then things could break and this could happen and shut down and whatnot. That's kind of the energy here, where you have to figure out, how can I release this energy? That's what this is about. This is just saying this is one of the ways to release energy in your life. That's all this is saying. It's one of the ways. It's not the only way. But because this card came out and the energy is the energy, I feel there's been some type of denial related to this. And again, not saying you have to go buck wild at all, especially with stuff floating around these days. I'm not saying that. Now, going back to the pent up, sometimes people end up going buck wild because they let it get pent up. They never released. And then finally, when they can't take it anymore, it's just like, wow, they're out there. And I'm not judging, though. This is a no judgment zone, because who am I to judge? I'm just saying these are the situations that happen. So let's get some tarot cards right quick. Put a little bit of color on this, and then we'll wrap up. Can we clarify the card on the table? Can we clarify the card on the table? Can we clarify the card on the table? Something told me to look at this. What is this? King of Wands. Now, this is fiery energy. Some of you might have been denying yourself a King of Wands. Just saying. Where the opportunity was there to release. But you're like, nope, not doing it. And it may be for whatever reason. Maybe you don't trust the person. Maybe you feel you'll just be another notch in the person's belt. Maybe you want more of a commitment from a person. Who knows? But with the King of Wands, I mean, it's a good time. Fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Some of you could be dealing with that sign. Okay, I'm not, because that didn't come out the way I prefer for it to come out. Because I prefer for them to either flip over, like this one. Yeah, Five of Wands. Some of you are fighting this. You're fighting this. Thank you. King of Pentacles. And the reason you're fighting it is because you want someone who is willing to start something. Some of you might be dealing with multiple people, especially with this Five of Wands. And if you notice, it's a chessboard. And there's the people on the chessboard. Some of you might be dealing with the King of Wands and a King of Pentacles as well. So, and then they may be fighting over you or whatever. But honestly, I just feel you're fighting it and holding back because you're waiting for something stable. But going back to the card, you don't necessarily, thank you. Yeah, stuck, hangman energy. You're sacrificing, you're going without. This card is saying you don't have to go without. You can either go solo or you can find another way not related to lust to release, is what this is saying. Bottom of the deck, 9 of Pentacles, independent. For some, you'd rather be alone than be unhappy. Thank you. What is this? But an offer. I feel this is what you want. You want a heartfelt offer. That's why you can't just do something with anybody. You want a heartfelt offer. You want somebody who wants to build. You also want someone who would be willing to fight over you and also fight for you. But yeah, you would, but I still feel like you're fighting going solo with satisfaction. 7 of Cups, bottom of the deck. Can be confusion, can be options. Thank you. What is this? 8 of Pentacles. Putting in the work. You want someone that wants to put in the work. I really feel, and with Pentacles, the stability, I really feel you are tied up on the person you're with. It has to be where it's going to lead somewhere. I feel like that's your energy. You're fighting, for some of you, not obviously not all of you, but for some of you, you're fighting the solo endeavors. You would rather it be with a person, but again, it can't be with just any person. It has to be with a person that wants to build something together and make a heartfelt offer. So yeah, I'm just going to title this, it can't be with just anybody. Bottom of the deck, 2 of Swords. Yeah. You're blocking people out that you feel aren't worthy. And you're just going to wait. You rather wait it out. Huh. I'm titling this, Not Just Opening Your Bed. Because I need to make sure it's specific. So people don't get confused on stuff. So yeah, that is your message. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.